Hi guys, so I want to take you on a journey to explain to you exactly what is project management. I know you've watched a lot of YouTube videos, there are a lot of talks out there, but this is going to be a high level for you to actually understand what is project management. Of course, we are discussing project management. Now, just a high level definition. As you know, this is actually a process of what? Of planning, executing, and delivering a particular work set with a specific goal within what? Within a time, scope, and of course, within budget. That is project management. It's actually a process of planning, of executing, and of course, of delivering a particular work set within a specific time, a scope, and a budget. That is project management. Now, when you have a brief, you need to deliberate with your team. Which methods are you going to use? Now, in project management, we have exactly two methods. One is the waterfall and two is agile. Now, let's start with waterfall. Waterfall, some people call it the traditional method of project management. Some will say it's linear, sequential, or predictive. That is waterfall. So what this means is that one phase of the production needs to complete before you move to the next phase. What are we saying here? We are saying that with waterfall, if you pick waterfall, which means that you need to get done with requirement gathering, you get done with design, build, or coding, you get done with testing, and of course, you get done with deployment or release. So this is how waterfall works. And that is where the name comes, as it's linear. One phase of the production gets to be completed before you move to the next phase. Now, as we proceed, you will see the challenge or the challenges or the difficulties with waterfall method. But this is waterfall, or the traditional method of project management. Now, on the other hand, you have agile. Here, this is agile. So the agile method, we are talking of an iterative and incremental method of project management. So this is, you hear a lot of people talk of agile as a mindset with set of values and principles adopted by software companies to roll out shippable product to their customers. So that is agile. Now with agile, instead of the linear, you have iterative and incremental. That is how agile works. And that is the method of project management that a lot of software companies. So what am I saying? If you are interested in making six figures, in getting into some of these software companies, then you should be thinking of focusing on agile. Now, under agile, you have a couple of things. There is the agile ceremonies, there's the agile values that we spoke about, there's the principles, 12 principles, and so on and so forth. Now, with agile, you come under agile, and then you have what we call the agile framework. There's the agile framework. And under agile framework, you have the Scrum, number one, Scrum. 2, you have Kanban. 3, you have SAFe. 4, you have extreme programming. 5, you have less. There's a lot of framework under agile. Now, out there you will hear Scrum, Kanban, and sometimes a little bit SAFe. With Scrum, let's come back here. We are still discussing project management. With Scrum, there are a few things under here. You talk about the rules of Scrum. You talk about the artifacts. You talk about the values of Scrum and so forth. Of course, the rules here is what? The Scrum Master, the product owner, and the dev team, the development team. The artifact here, you are looking at the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. That's what you're looking at here. The values of Scrum here, you're looking at 1, respect, 2, focus, 3, commitment, 4, openness, and of course, there is a 5th one. That is the values of Scrum. Now, why am I explaining all these things to you? It is for you to understand that when you get into an environment, When you get into an environment, when you come on board, you will need to determine when you come on board and they send you a brief, a project brief. Now, this is where everything starts. When you come on board, they send you a project brief. When you look at that project brief, you definitely need to determine which method are you going to pick. Are you going to pick waterfall to execute that project, or are you going to pick agile to execute that particular project? Now, if you don't understand how all these things work, if you don't understand waterfall, you don't understand agile, you might get confused. Now, to make it simple for you, for complex projects, you go with agile. That's complex, quick feedback, easy to change, like a lot of changes happening in the project as you go with agile. That is why we talk of software industries, they like to go with agile. Now, with waterfall, it has to do more with construction project. You know, construction, these are the plan or the schedule of this project, it's actually defined upfront. That is where you go with waterfall. But waterfall is not that popular out there, but that doesn't mean that companies are not using waterfall to execute their project. Some will even blend the two. That's called hybrid. A little bit of waterfall and a little bit of agile to execute their project. Now, this is a high level of what project management actually looks like. And of course, if you really want to deep dive into all this stuff I've really explained, you definitely need to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And of course, turn on the notification bell and follow me as I will be sharing more tips. Thank you.